Om Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Yenakshara Samamnayam Adhigamya Maheshwarat Kritsnam Vyakaranam Proktam Tasmai Paninaye Namaha Vakyakaram Vararuchim Bhashyakaram Patanjalim Paninim Sutrakarancha Pranatosmi Munitrayam Vagarthaviva Samprikto Vagarthav Pratipattaye Jagatav Pitaro Vande Parvati Parameshwarao Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Namaste everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to class. On our screen we have a new word. No more Rama Shabda there. So we've moved on to our next Shabda. So it's there in the workbook, and in the workbook there's actually a few more pages so you can practice the other Sarvanama. You can write them all out to get some more practice on those pages. So that's what I wanted to point out. Right. Sarvanama basically is very similar to Rama Shabda that we looked at last time. Sarva means all. So when it's in singular, it means the whole thing or entire thing. Or when it's in plural, it means all in a group, right? Now, the differences we see between Rama Shabda are highlighted in bold, right? So 1, 3, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 3, 7, 1, and that's Sambodhana, which is an extension of 1, 3. Okay, so let's chant it together. You can try to, if you know Rama Shabda well, then you can even try to close your eyes. Okay. Sarvaha, Sarvo, Sarve, Sarvam, Sarvo, Sarvan. Third case, Sarvena, Sarvabhyam, Sarvaihi. Fourth case, Sarvasmai, Sarvabhyam, Sarvebhyaha. Fifth case, Sarvasmat, Sarvabhyam, Sarvebhyaha. Sixth case, Sarvasya, Sarvayoho, then Sarvesham. Seventh case, Sarvasmin, Sarvayoho, and then Sarveshu. He Sarva, He Sarvo, He Sarve. Which one was the most difficult to remember out of all of those? Sarvasmai, sixth case. That's what I'm getting. Some sixth case. 7-1 was I almost forgot 7-1. I wanted to say Sarve like Rame, but we already have Sarve in 1-3 and Sambodhana 3, right? Okay. 6 case, yeah. So let's pick up another word. So first of all, let's look at the meanings of all the words on the bottom of the screen there. Anya means another, right? The word another, A-N, they both start very similar. So anya, another. Ubha, both, right? Purva, purva means before or east. Anyatara, one of the two. Eka, eka means one or some. Vishwa means all. Itara means other. Para means after or another. And swa means oneself or one's own. Right? These are different pronouns. So let's take up another one. Let's look at eka. Okay. So let's do it together. Ekaha, eko, eke. Ekam, eko, eka, ekan. Ekena, ekabhyam, ekebhihi. Then this is where it gets tough. So I put it up there. Ekasmai, ekasmai, ekabhyam, ekebhyaha. Fifth case, ekasmat, ekabhyam, ekebhyaha. Sixth case, ekasya, ekayoho, ekesham. Oh yeah, sorry. Third case plural, I made a mistake. Ekaihi. Correct. Thank you. Seventh case, ekasmin, ekayoho, ekeshu. He eka, he eko, he eke. Okay. So even I need to practice. I missed third case plural. So before we look at the exercise, what I want to do is I'm going to actually pull up. We're going to go back to Samanadhikaranam, and then we'll come back to Sarva Shabda. Okay. So someone tell me what page this is on? This is near the end of the book. So last time, near the end of the book, right before the exercises start, you'll see it there. So this is topic 11, page 149, page 149 in the back of the book, topic 11. So we're jumping a lot of topics, but this is the time to bring this in, Samanadhikaranam. So we started to introduce this last time, right? The word Samanadhikaranam, right? You can repeat after me, Samanadhikaranam. Okay, so there's two parts of this, Samana and Adhikaranam. Samana means same, right? Sam, so that's similar sounding in English and Sanskrit. Samana, same, and Adhikaranam means locus or object, that location. So the same object. So when two words are pointing to or indicating the same object, they're supposed to be in Samanadhikaranam. Okay, the English translation for that is apposition, right? Not opposition, but apposition. But for ease, we'll just stick with Samanadhikaranam. Okay. So the example here is Sundaraha Balaha Bhavati. Sundara, beautiful, Bala, boy, Bhavati is. There is a beautiful boy. Now those two words, beautiful and boy, both refer to Devadatta, right? They both refer to one and the same Devadatta. Beautiful is not referring to something else, or boy is not referring to something else, but both have their locus in the same object, right? They're both pointing to that same object. Therefore, they're samana adhikaranam yasya or yesham. The ones for whom the adhikaranam is the same. Now there's words that can be in the same case, but they don't have to be in Samanadhikaranam. When it's not in Samanadhikaranam, it's called Vyadhikaranam. Vyadhikaranam. We put a V plus Adhikaranam, it's become Vyadhikaranam. Like Balaha, Gajaha, Chabhavataha. There's a boy and elephant. Boy and elephant are in the same case, but elephant is not an adjective to describe the boy, or it's not a preposition, okay? We're nice people. We're not calling the boy an elephant here. Okay, let's look at the first type. There's two types. The first one we want to look at is adjective substantive. Adjective we all know, like brown boy, big boy, blue boy, whatever it is. Tall boy, skinny boy. It's all those, it qualifies. And so what is qualifying or an adjective is called visheshana. Visheshana. That which qualifies. An adjective qualifies something, right? We have the boy, but then we want to make it more specific. We want to qualify that. So we say tall boy. It's a qualifying word. So we call that visheshana. Now the substantive, or that which we're qualifying, or that which is qualified, is called visheshya. Visheshya. Now they sound very similar, right? The one ends with the yakara, one ends with the that nakara. Visheshana is qualifying an adjective, and visheshya is a qualified or substantive word. So, right, let's look at the examples. Sundaraha balaha bhavati. Bhavati, there is a sundara bala. Right? There's a beautiful sundara bala boy. Okay, so the visheshana adjective is sundara, right? It's qualifying. But what is qualified is balaha, beautiful boy. Okay, so this is one type of relationship. Okay, notice how, now we'll see this in a second, but now they can be in any case, essentially. They can be subject, object, or anything in the sentence, but they both just refer to one and the same object, right? So we can see all 7 examples, 1 through 7. It can be all 7 cases, right? Sundaram balam pashyati. Or like that, saha pashyati. He sees. He sees what? Sundaram balam. He sees a beautiful boy. Okay, so they're in both in second case, but they're still referring to the same object. Beautiful boy. Now you can see the rest of them. He goes with the beautiful boy. He gives to a beautiful boy. Something is born of a beautiful boy. There is house of a beautiful. For a second, I was wondering, how can something be born of a beautiful boy? But I guess artwork can be born of a beautiful boy. There is a house of a beautiful boy. There's devotion of a beautiful, right? So it doesn't matter the case. But you'll notice one pattern that's come up is that when we have this visheshana, vishesha bhava, this relationship between adjective and substantive, the gender will be the same and the number of words, the vachanam will be the same, the number. Okay, so if that substantive is in the first case and it's plural, then the adjective, the visheshana, will also be first case plural. Okay, if it's third case plural, then they're both going to be third case plural. Why? They're both referring to one and the same object, right? Can there be dual? Yeah, there can be dual as well. Okay, so we can have, so we can say, Sundaro balo bhavataha, right? There are 2 beautiful boys. Okay. So you'll see those examples. Bafwaha. Okay, bafwaha. Now this is it's not a ending. That's why it looks like one, but it's u ending. So that's why the one singular plural ends like that. Bahwaha sundaraha gataha bhavanti. Many beautiful pots exist. The sundaraha and gataha, that beautiful and pot, they will go together. They'll have the same gender, the same case. You can see now in the next example, they're feminine. Bhafyaha sundaryaha nadyaha bhavanti. We haven't learned feminine yet, but notice that even when the gender changes, they'll both kind of match the same gender. Now, notice in the English translation how the adjective usually comes right before that substantive. The visheshana will come before the visheshya usually, right? So when you say beautiful boy or tall boy or, right, black pen, white pen, they come together. Okay, this is how usually that relationship is set up. Okay, but now there's a second type of Samanadhikaranam. And I don't want to make it get complicated, but there's a second type of Samanadhikaranam. Okay, before we get to that second type, any questions? Har Prasadji, go ahead.
Yeah, so the word Baha, so it is a Sarvanama, right?
Yeah, Bahu means many.
So it is a Sarvanama?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, so actually there's 3 words here that are in Samanadhikaranam.
Yeah.
Bahu, bahavaha, bahavaha, sundaraha, gataha. So those 3 words, they're all 3 are in Samanadhikaranam.
Yeah, correct.
When will bahu be used? Whenever you want to say many. I don't know if that makes sense, but you could, yeah. So if you want to say many, you can use, it's just one of the words that we'll get. We'll learn that when we get to that ukaranta, u ending. Is bahuni dual or plural? So bahuni is correct. It's in neuter, first case, plural is bahuni in neuter, in neuter gender. Okay. Bahuni, bahuni, sundarani, phalani, bhavanti. Okay. We'll get to neuter gender and feminine soon. But you don't want it to come too quickly. It makes things complicated. Okay, so there's a second type called Uddeshya Videya Bhava. Okay. English translation is noun predicate. Let me pull up. Let me pull it up on the iPad 1 second. Okay. So Uddeshya Videya Bhavaha. This is you can continue. It's all on the next page there. Noun predicate. Now, right, it says the noun is known to the speaker while the predicate is not quite known yet. Okay. Now, to convey what the listener doesn't know, the speaker uses a predicate. Okay. Now, this is complicated. All we need to see is the example for it to make sense. Okay. Balaha sundaraha bhavati. Now, we saw the same example before, but we said there is a beautiful boy, right? Before, in Visheshana Vishesha, we said there is a beautiful boy. Same sentence. But now I'm saying blank is blank. Okay, that's the setup of Udesha Videya. Blank is blank. That's going to be our setup. Blank is blank when we translate it into English. The first thing we already know, the boy. We both, me and you both know the boy, but I want to convey, what is the boy? The boy is beautiful. You don't know that yet, so to convey that, I'm using a predicate. If you know that, then I can just say the beautiful boy over there. But you don't know the boy is beautiful, so I have to say the boy is beautiful. Then we can both agree that then we can say beautiful boy, right? And the only difference here is the structure. Instead of them next to each other, one is A is B. But so it gets a little bit more complex in the second sentence. Okay, it's usually A is B, but we can also see it like this. Sabalam sundaram manyate. She considers, so sa is she, manyate considers, balam sundaram, the boy beautiful. Now, only question you need to ask yourself is, look, we can also just say boy, she considers the boy is beautiful, right? A is B, that same relationship falls. But let's say that's not there. When, right, we don't know what she considers, she needs to convey that to us. So she's saying that the boy, she considers the boy beautiful. Okay, so if we were doing Visheshana Vishesha, it would say she considers the beautiful boy. Here, she considers the boy beautiful. Boy is beautiful. All right, we'll see some more examples here. Before we see more examples, we need to see this. Now, in Visheshana Vishesha, an adjective substantive type, that first type we saw, the gender and the number, the linga and vachanam had to be the same. Here, only the case needs to be the same, okay? But the gender and the number can be different. Okay. When you see multiple words in the same case, you can assume a lot of times that it's Samanadhikaranam. Okay? But if the gender and number don't always have to match up. If they do, then it's adjective substantive. If they don't, it is noun predicate. Now, in real life, when we're translating sentences, you don't really need to know extensively the difference between noun predicate or adjective substantive, okay? So to be honest, sometimes the Vedanta teacher will refer to this, but that's in more advanced grammar classes anyways, or when we're running Bhashyam. But it's not, you can get the idea of the sentence from either using adjective substantive or this noun predicate, in case you get them mixed up, for example. Okay, there's some questions here. Can I not, so I cannot say balaha sundaram asti. So you cannot say balaha sundaram asti because balaha, so sundaram, they need to match, right? If we're using if we're doing Visheshana Visheshya, they need to match gender and they need to match the same number. So we have to say Balaha Sundaraha Asti. Or if we're talking about neuter, then we can say Pustakam Sundaram Asti. Right? Okay. Another example, someone asked, couldn't it be said Sa Balaha Sundaraha Manyate? So going back to the earlier example. Let's see. Sa Balaha Sundaraha Manyate. Yeah, we can say that as well. Yeah, that works as well. This example. But actually, no, we cannot say that. No, now that I think about that, because Manyate, she considers. Now, the object of considers is Balam and Sundaram, right? So the object has to be in the second case. So we can't say it in the first case. Unless you want Manyate to be Karmani. No, but still it won't work. No, it won't work. Won't work. So let's take that back. Yeah, it's the object. So we have to keep it that second case, right? Okay. So let's look at these. So Granasya, so this is from Tattva Bodha. Outside of the Tattva Bodha universe, this doesn't make much sense. So if you study Tattva Bodha, this will ring, you remember this. Granasya Devata Ashwino. Okay, so the Devata of the Grana, the presiding deity of the nose, is Ashwino, is the two Ashwins. Notice how they're in Samanadhikaranam because they have the same case and referring to the same object. But they have different genders and they have different vachanams. Okay, but they have to have the same vibhakti. That's the most important here, okay? They have to have the same vibhakti. Aham manye, I consider what? I consider all objects, sarvani vastuni, as Ishvara. Okay, so that vastuni and ish, so all three of these words are in Samanadhikaranam, sarvani, vastuni, and Ishwaram. But notice how vastuni and Ishwaram have different genders and also the different case. But they're all referring to the same thing, right? Objects and Ishwara are not separate items. And so here we're using the A is B or A as B. So there's a question, should it be manyami rather than manye? So we have to look at man. So this is man dhatu. Man dhatu is atmanepadi. It's A. So when we're looking at first one, man dhatu, 1A, it would be manye. Okay. If it was parasmaipada, then it would be manyami. But it's not parasmaipada. It's atmanepada, so it's manye. Okay. Is it samanadhikaranam when the gender is different? Yeah. So these two words here, vastuni and ishwaram, they have two different genders, but they're still samanadhikaranam. In this example above too, devata and ashwino. Devata is a feminine word, and ashwino is a masculine word, but they're referring to one and the same object. Okay, so the devata is Ashwin, Ashwino. They're both referring to one and the same object. Another example, let's look at this. We saw this in the 6th case homework. In the back of the book, we saw this earlier. Akashasya gunaha shabdaha vartate. So I'm not going to write this all out, but we can just give the cases. This is third one. Lat kartari. Third one. This is 1-1. This is 1-1, and this is 6-1. Okay, so shabdaha, sound, vartate is the guna, quality of space. Sound is the quality of space. Notice these two words, guna and shabda, are in Samanadhikaranam. They're both in masculine, and they both have the same vachanam. So they don't always have to have different gender, or they don't always have to have different vachanam. They can very much have the same gender and vachanam and still be in uddesha videya bhava, in that noun predicate. Yeah, so this example is a question about this previous Granasya Devata. Yeah, so we see that 6th case there. That's a that 6th case is Sambandhe Shashti. Devata of the nose, which belongs to the nose. I thought I had one more example. Okay. I'm going to switch back screens. Same with this on the screen. Hastayoho devaha indraha bhavati. The deva, the lord of hasta, of the hands, is bhavati Indra. Or we can say Indra is the deva of hands. Okay. All right. Main takeaways from all of this is, if you have two words with the same case, they very much could be adjective, substantive. So they can be like, they both can be sorry, let me back up. When you have two words with the same vibhakti, the same case, they both can be referring to the same object, right? Now it can be either adjective, substantive, which is a lot of times that's the case, or it can be A is B, and noun is noun predicate. Okay, that's the main takeaway. So why we're talking about all of this also is, if you looked at the homework for exercise 16, this is the Sarva homework. This is all the way in the back of the book, page 176, page 176 of the back of the book. Now, any of the words that you put in here, so if I put in, for example, let's look at number 2. If I say ekasmat, or let's say sarvasmat. Sarvasmat gramat janaha agachanti. Okay, gachanti means to go, but agachanti means to come. Okay, poitu vango. Okay, so agachanti means to come. So janaha agachanti, the people come from, 5th case, right, from sarvasmat gramat, from all of the villages. Or sorry, the entire village, it's singular. They come from the entire village. Now, Sarva, Smat, and Gramat, they both have the same case. They're both referring to the same object, so they're called Samanadhikaranam. Okay. Now, so the homework will be to give these a shot to actually do the parsing of the sentences. Okay. One tip will be, you don't have to do it in all 5, Sarva, Eka, Anya, Para, Pur. Just pick one and do it, choose the one that you feel is the best. If you feel like one or Anya or Para is more, will fit the meaning a little bit better, then you can choose that word. And then you translate the sentence. Number 3 and number 4 are a bit funny. So why don't we skip number 3 and number 4 for your homework? If you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. You can always send me your homework and I'll let you know if it's correct or not. So with this homework, notice this is the first time where we're mixing cases. It's not, okay, so it's not the first time, but there's a bunch of different cases. We see 5, 7, 6 all throughout this, okay? So you have to be alert to how to translate these. Okay, we'll finish. We'll come back in 5 minutes and I'll take questions in between if anyone has any questions on this subject, okay? On Samanadhikaranam or Sarva Shabda. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Okay, so feel free to take a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 8:12 and then I'll take any questions if you have any in between. Harprasad ji?
Yes, sir. Can I say for the second one, Anyasmat Gramat Janaha Agachanti.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So the people come from
another village.
Another village, yeah, correct.
Yeah.